Do you want to create your WordPress website or blog with the 2020 WordPress theme? 2020 was just released and it was created by Anders Noren, an awesome developer, along with the WordPress team, and it was modeled after the Chaplin theme. This WordPress 2020 theme has so many features and designs that offer us bloggers a lot more to do, but if you just installed it, then you might be confused because it's pretty minimalist and it's hard to figure out the default themes. You might actually end up having a website that just looks like this and it's not worth that much at all. But if you want to change things and actually make your site with 2020, then we have a video for you now, because we're going to actually build this complete website with the blog with the WordPress 2020 theme. So instead of just telling you about it and what it offers you, we're actually going to build these features like a cool logo, this nice flyout menu, which is unique to 2020. We're going to make a huge hero screen image with some text on top of it, and of course it's HD. You're going to learn how to make buttons, this nice little customized featured text and video area, set up social media in multiple different formats, and of course do all the basic business features like a map, and you're going to get the basic pages like an about, contact us, and a blog. The blog is especially cool because it centers your content, so instead of having a really wide post, they've decided to center the content in the middle, which really focuses your reader's eyeball right down the center of the page and can be great for marketing or online affiliate marketing. You can also do wide layouts in the post, which is totally new to this theme. Alright, so if you want to get started, I hope you'll join in. We have plenty of theme videos for Astra, Ocean WP, Laurel, Mr. Taylor, Virtue, all the way back to the 2016 WordPress theme. But this one is the one that excites me the most because it's a theme made by a fellow who I've actually built some themes along with before, and I'm really excited to see what we can make. So if you're ready to get started, I'm ready too. Let's go ahead and learn all the features of the WordPress 2020 theme and how to build them. First off, because the WordPress 2020 theme is a WordPress.org theme, we're going to need to set up a domain name and hosting before we can actually use this theme. So if you need to do that, like a lot of people still do, then I've covered all the steps for you, and we're going to set it up right here in a few minutes, domain hosting and install WordPress. If you already have your domain and hosting, use the quick links beneath the video to hop over to where we actually start building with the theme. But this part should be really easy and fun for everyone. So the first step to register your domain name and hosting and then install WordPress is just to pick a domain name. So your domain name is like yourunique.com or .org or .net. There are a ton of different options available even still today. So for example, Facebook's domain name is facebook.com and Twitter's domain name is twitter.com. You ideally want something short and simple. I prefer no more than 2 words because that's been really trendy over the past decade or so, like Home Depot or Netflix or TripAdvisor. You get the picture. But if you can't get your domain name of choice, then you could always just register yourname.com. That's great for branding, and if you become a big $1 million business someday, you should control where yourname.com goes so someone doesn't post something else on it. So of course you're wondering the cost of everything, and you should be happy to know that we're going to get a domain name for free. The next step once you pick your domain name is just to set up some hosting. So hosting is just like virtual storage space for your blog or website. It's kind of like back in like kindergarten when you had a cubby where you stored all your stuff alongside all your classmates. Hosting is just like a little cubby where you store your website files, like your images, your posts, your videos. And if you don't have a hosting account, then when people visit your domain name, they just see a blank white screen. So every WordPress website needs hosting. And you don't need to know any techie stuff at all. And another word for it is self-hosting, aka self-hosted WordPress. So that's what we're going to get today. Hosting costs used to run us about $10 per month, which can actually break the bank, especially if you're starting out. Thankfully, we've found a place where we can get hosting down to under $5 a month. So an awesome discount, which basically equals a cup of coffee per month. So if you can skip one trip to Starbucks every month, which I know can be tough, then you can have your own amazing website, just like huge brands like Forbes, Time Magazine, Katy Perry, Beyonce, and more, who all use WordPress.org. The way we get our hosting discount and our domain name for free is by using Bluehost. Bluehost is the #1 recommended software by WordPress to set up WordPress, and it's also really fast and affordable and user-friendly, and they have great support. So really, you can't go wrong. I've been a Bluehost customer for a while now, And I have to say, I wish I had gotten started with them even sooner. They are awesome. And I think you'll find a good home there. So after we get our domain name and hosting, we just need to grab WordPress. Thankfully, we can install WordPress for free at Bluehost without any coding knowledge required. You basically just use their famous one-click install, and then you have WordPress up and running, and you're gonna wonder why you waited so long and you don't have to like connect anything or know any like weird database, JavaScript, coding, HTML, Python, C++. You don't need to know any of that. It's super easy. And of course, that part is free. So to put everything in perspective, if you went and hired a developer in your town, they would charge you somewhere between like $500 and $2,000 just to set up your WordPress website. If you don't believe me, go ahead and ask them. I guarantee you'll be surprised. And if you took a WordPress course or a boot camp somewhere, that would also run you thousands of dollars. So instead, you're gonna save all that money. You only have to pay a little bit for your hosting here, and in itself, it's all priceless because you'll learn how to do it all yourself. All right, so if you're ready, I'm ready. Let's go ahead and get these things out of the way, and then we can actually learn the WordPress 2020 theme. Just open up your browsers here. I'm using Google Chrome, which I recommend, but whether you're using Internet Explorer, Firefox, some other browser, Microsoft, PC, or Mac, whatever you're using, it'll work just fine, and you can follow along. So without further ado, grab yourself a cup of coffee, tea, whatever it is you like to drink, and let's get started. To visit Bluehost and get our discount, I'm just gonna open up a new Google, and we can just type in gregnarayan.com, that's my domain name, of course, myname.com, /Bluehost, and hit enter. And that'll make sure we get that price down to under $5 a month like I talked about. So there it is, great job, and we're all set now. And so you don't get lost, and so I can explain this all to you one-on-one and you can install WordPress easily, why don't I jump in the tutorial now with you? I'm just gonna throw on my leather jacket here, and here we are at Bluehost, the best web hosting as you might have heard for WordPress. So if you click Get Started, you're gonna see the basic plan on the left, which is the one that most people use to install WordPress. This has gotten us a lot of great reviews, and it's generally just the most common way to install WordPress. But because Bluehost is so advanced, they've created a basic WordPress plan. If you hover on WordPress and click WordPress hosting, you'll find the same basic plan for the same price, but with more upgraded WordPress features like $200 in marketing credit. So obviously we want to get this one for you. All right, so we're gonna go up and we're gonna see it also comes with automatic WordPress install updates, all sorts of cool WordPress features. Obviously, I want your blog to be as powerful as it can be from the get-go. All right, so you can read a little more if you want. It's the same price of $3.95 a month, and then once you're ready, just click Choose Plan, scroll down, and we're gonna keep things on a budget and select the basic plan. Of course, you could get the Plus plan if you know you wanna host more than one website at the moment. Next, we're gonna create a domain name. All right, so if you search for a domain name, you're gonna have the option to put in any words you want and then choose an extension, which is like a .com, a .net, what have you. And I want you to know that the .com is the most recognizable and also the most profitable if you sell your website someday. So always try to get the .com. Although there isn't any negative like SEO if you choose like a .org or a .co. Then hit next. Of course, your domain name might not be available right away, so you might need to do a little more hunting, like replace guide with setup or go with yourname.com. That's always a good one. We can celebrate now that we've gotten ourselves a good domain name. And next it's time to create our account. So we're gonna pop in account information, which is just like our name and our business name, which is optional. You're gonna put in stuff like the country, street address, city, and of course, all that information is 100% secure. And then in package information, we're gonna make sure we choose the best option for us today. The price goes down if you register more months up front. You'll just have to pay a little bit more up front, but you'll get it at less cost per month. Hosting price is just the number of months we register for times the price. Domain's free, and you get a free SSL for security. Next, you'll see the package extras, all right? So obviously we wanna check off on all of those because we're going to stay on a budget. I can show you how to do most of these tasks for free with the plugin, or you can add them on later in the future, guys. It's not a big deal. All right, so finally we have the payment information, and we're going to pay for our Bluehost web hosting just like you would at any other major online retailer. All right, pretty cool. So Bluehost has like over 2 million customers right now. Really great brand founded by Matt Eaton, and today they're going to get one more customer because we're going to join in. Alright, so here I'm making my secure payment. Just going to pop in my credit card so I get some points and click that box down below. And once you've read through, it's time to hit submit, and this will take care of our domain name and hosting. And in the next step, we're just going to install WordPress. So it goes really quick. You should know that it's really easy and fun, and yeah, now you get to enjoy the same Bluehost setup that everyone you might have talked to has already done. So once you're ready, we're just going to hit submit together. Boom. And it'll say your purchase was a success. Great, so they have these updated graphics in the new Bluehost WordPress install. And we just need to hit create account to get going. Next, it's time to create your password. So we just have our domain name in there and choose any password that meets all their criteria. Try to make it strong, then check that box and then create your account. All right, here we're making a good amount of progress. Keep going with us here. Now click go to login, and it's going to ask us a quick little test, which is, do you remember the password you just made? So make sure you're on hosting login and remember that password. Type it in, and now we're going to click login. All right, doing great, guys. Stick with us here. We're almost to your WordPress blog. Congrats on making it so far. It's a big commitment here you've taken, and really, you're setting yourself apart from so many other bloggers that decide to create a free blog. All right, so now let's create a website with some details. So the first thing is just the name of your site, which is literally just whatever your site title is. So, it could be anything like, Rick's Cool Toys or Jamie's Cool, whatever you want to call it. I'm out of ideas, but I just like calling it your domain name. Whatever's in your domain name, just put those words in the site title. And then for your tagline, that would be like a slogan for your website. So, maybe your favorite quote would work great there. All right, and when you do this, WordPress is going to take that information and put it on your blog. So you'll see it once we log into WordPress. All right, and now it says, do you want a blog? Well, I thought we were making a blog already. Well, this will just make sure that you have blog posts in a certain location. So of course we want that, and we're going to choose homepage so that we have a list of blog posts on our homepage. And then it says, do you want an online store? Of course, why not? I could definitely see us selling something like an ebook or some downloadable products or maybe a coaching guide later on. All right, so there we have it, and we're going to scroll down and we're going to hit continue. So the WooCommerce store is just by WooCommerce, which is a plugin. Next, it's time to tell us a bit more about you. Bluehost is basically just trying to understand what sort of site you want to make. This will help them recommend you themes, give you better WordPress support through their Blue Sky. They offer a lot of upgraded support features. So the more you tell them, the better. And they will read this and learn about your site so they can help you better later on. So of course, I'm just going to check all of them so we get all the options on the next screen. Then it says, are you comfortable with creating websites? Well, if you're with me, then yes, but after the video, you might not be comfortable. So we're just going to hit the very least one so that you get the most options for WordPress support on the next screen. And you get a phone number there if you want to call them for help. But obviously, you're here with me, and the YouTube comments are great. So now it's time to pick a theme that inspires you, not expires. These are all great themes. I can tell you about all of them. As you can see, there's like 559 of them, so there's really not time to explain all of them. But if you want, ask me about any individual theme. I'll tell you what it's good for, why it's good, and maybe why it wouldn't be for you. I've used almost all these themes we see right here. But we're going to skip this step because I want us to try out the default 2020 theme. It's really cool, and you should know how to use it. All right, so before I could finish talking, WordPress was installed. This is our dashboard. We're going to hit Get Started. Then we're going to say no thanks for the domain privacy protection because we're on a budget. And before we know it, we're going to be on the dashboard screen. All right, I'm just going to click away from here by clicking, I'm sure, turn it off. There we go. Now we're going to hit My Sites in the upper left. And in order to log in, we're going to click on Manage Site. So this is like kind of a quick little health check on your site, like how many themes you have, how many plugins, basically your sort of arsenal of tools, you could say. We're going to hit that button right there, and then there's us, and we need to create a password, and to do that we need to hit login. So here's our little guy in a rocket ship, and now we're logged in. Things at Bluehost go really fast, guys, so if you need to stop the video and ask a question, then please do so. I'm just going to close these little notifications here so that our dashboard is as simple as possible. Dismiss that one, and yeah, welcome to WordPress. You made it. So here we are now, and what I want to show you how to do is to go to users and change your password. So click on users and then click on yourself. Hit edit right there, or just click on your name and then scroll down, and under new password click generate password. Nailed it. Now we're just going to make sure we hide it and click on any password you want. Make it strong, of course, and come down and update it. So now you don't have to use any other password. You know your username, you know your password, you can log in whenever you want. We're going to click on the dashboard button in the upper left, which is also called our site title. That takes us from the back end to the front end. So it goes from the dashboard to this site, which is basically how the world sees it. So this is what your WordPress site looks like. This is the theme it's wearing. Obviously it looks okay, but not that great. And if you click on that button again in the upper left, it goes back to our dashboard. So it just kind of flips around like a pancake. All right, so that's pretty cool. If you notice in the upper URL bar, there's some weird temporary domain names sometime, like box76. Bluehost just does that because they're not sure like where your domain came from. So if you're using a domain name from GoDaddy, they're just going to give you that so you can actually look at your site. But we want to click on the Bluehost button, and then we want to come down to hosting, and now we're going to go to manage, and this is going to help us get rid of that weird like box temp domain thing, because it should just say yourdomainname.com. And you can also see how the dashboard's connected to the Bluehost and so on and so forth. All right, so click on home, and we can see right there in that little drop down, we want it to just say yourdomainname.com, like I mentioned before. So click my sites. Now we're going to click on manage site. You guessed it. Now we're going to click on settings, and under site URL, you're just going to delete what's in there. If it's not your domain name, just delete it and enter in http:// You don't need to do a www, just enter in the words of your domain name followed by the .com or .org, .net, whatever, and then click on save updates. So this will make sure that when we visit your site, it's actually going to be your domain name and not something else that we get to look at. To log in now, you can visit your domain name /wp-admin. That's just how everyone really does it these days. It's just the standard for some reason. Then pop in your username and your password that you chose when we were in that users area. Click remember me and bookmark it so you don't forget this page. And now we're going to click on login. And here we are. All right, so the first thing we're going to do is change our theme. We have a little bit of time left in the video, a couple minutes. These are the themes your site is wearing. So it's like all the default WordPress ones. If you want to activate them, you can just click on the activate button. But if you click on the blue plus, you can see all the themes WordPress comes with through the internet, through the WordPress library. You click popular. These themes are powering like thousands of websites. Astra is one of our favorites. I'll give you a video at the end on how to make a WordPress website with Astra. But for now, just go back to themes, and we're going to select the default 2020 theme. Really cool, really fast, and really modern. So click on a theme and click activate it to actually use it on your site. This will change how everything looks. All right, and now we can click on our site title in the upper left and see that everything looks different. And in the few seconds we have left, I want to show you how to add a new blog post and even upload an image. So go to new post in the upper navigation. All right, and this is the post editor. And we're going to click on the little cursor at the top to add a title. So welcome to the blog is always a good first post to have, explain what you want to write about and what people can stand to get. So I don't have time to write all that, and we're going to do that later. Also, I'll just write now. This is my first post. You know, I'm so glad you could stop by and read it. Something just to warm people up and welcome them to the blog. Now we can click on the image button, and this is how you upload an image to your new website. Let's go to a new tab and type in pixabay.com, where I get all my free images, and search for futuristic. Why not? Once you do a search for that, you'll see all the images that are futuristic. You can click on one to open it, and then you can click on further categories, which are on the upper left of the image if you don't see something you like. If you do, maybe you have a futurism blog, which is really cool, then you can just make it with all these images. Alright, make sure you give credit to the author, but as far as I know, these are pretty darn good images that are free to use. Alright, so we're going to click on free download. Before we do that though, we're going to click on these categories like interior, and you can see that, you can go way down the rabbit hole and pick all sorts of cool images. So I like this one. It's kind of like my dream office. Free download, I'm not a robot, and download. And then you'll get a download to the image. So just name it whatever you want. Cool office is good. In WordPress, click upload. And then it's going to search your computer. Click on the image, click open. Again, I'm sorry we're going so fast. Stop that video and ask a question if you want. So your image will show up right in WordPress. You've uploaded it now to your Bluehost hosting, and it's definitely on your blog. And we're just going to click and write a little bit more. Alright, so let's get a few more sentences in there. I'm sort of thinking what I want to write. Maybe something about what my office looks like. Of course, you can upload as many images as you want to WordPress. You can add videos, quotes, links, all sorts of stuff. Let me know how to do all that if you have a question. In this case, I'm just going to say I'll leave a picture of my cool new office. Publish in the upper right to make things go live, and click publish again. Now we can actually just click on view post once it's done publishing. And voila! You published a new blog post for the world, and a special congrats if that was your first blog post ever. I know the feeling. You're not alone, and now you're a blogger just like me. Alright, so I'm going to go away so we can focus on the WordPress 2020 theme and learning everything that it can offer us. The first thing I want to set up is just the home page. So this is a pretty standard technique on most WordPress blogs where you make the home page a home page. So when you click on your site title, you'll see like not just your blog post, but an actual full page where you can put up content like your mission statement, maybe a like box, and like a full screen image. So let's go to the dashboard and let's get that done. So to set up your homepage, you need to first go to Pages and add a home page. It sounds redundant, but we need to add an actual home page. So let's click Add New. We're just going to call this one Home and publish it. Publish. And now we're going to go back to Pages again and Add New, and we're going to make a blog page, and that way our blog posts have a page where they can stack on. Publish and publish. Alright, awesome. Now we just need to go to Settings. Just hover on Settings, click on Reading, and let's assign these pages to their correct locations. So your homepage displays, right now it's just your latest blog post, but we want to make it a static page, and we want to make the home page Home and Post page Blog. That's just how people do it once you actually get into developing with WordPress. And save changes. Alright, so now when we go to our site, we won't see too much. We'll just see a home page right there. Alright guys, so our homepage has nothing on it. That's really scary. So let's go ahead and start playing with the 2020 theme and build out a homepage. As Alex Noren says, who made the theme, here we are on the Kinsta blog. I read that he said that this theme is all about flexibility. That means that you can use it for an organization or a business. You can combine columns, groups, and media to create dynamic layouts like full width alignments. So that would be something we could do on our homepage, and you can also, if you want, use it to make a traditional blog with this centered content. So we have full width content that's dynamic and centered content that's blog, and what better way to show off both of those kinds of content than on a magazine website. So if our website were the next Mashable.com, then it could look like this huge full screen setup on the homepage with all these different types of columns for different sorts of media, and then you could also have the blog, which is just one individual article, and that's how this looks. So that's what we're going to go for. Of course, you won't have as much content as Mashable, but we're going to try to give you that kind of variety. So you have a home page, which is a landing page, and then article pages. So with all that prelude done, let's just click Edit Page and get going. And by the way, because we set up those pages, like the home page and the blog page, now we have an edit page button on the home page. Alright, the first thing we're going to want to do on our home page is click on page attributes and open up the different types of pages those are different templates. So we can have like a default template. We can also have these Elementor options because we installed the Elementor plugin at some point. If you don't have the Elementor page builder plugin, you won't see these two. And then you also get the cover and the full width included with the theme. Let's go ahead and try the cover template and update the page and see if anything happens. Now view page, and we can see right away we get this full screen image, and then beneath it we get the content, and we get the arrow to take us there too. Let's click edit page again, and let's see what we get if we click on the full width template. So change it from cover to full width template and update and view page. Alright, so that's pretty much the same as the default template for now. But let's make this full width template come to life. Let's click edit page again, and let's get ourselves some blocks. Obviously the 2020 theme comes with Gutenberg, which is the block editor in WordPress that replaced the classic editor. So we're going to learn how to use these blocks to make our home page come to life. So the first thing we're going to do is just change home to welcome to our magazine, and we'll see how that looks later. And now we can just click on plus and make a block. We're going to go with an image, and if you need a cool image before you have images for your blog, you can always go to pixabay.com and grab a free image. So I'm just going to do a search for something like mountains, and then you can click on a mountain and open it up. You can also click on a category link like alpine, and you'll see more alpines. Or like mountain hut, for example, you're going to find so many cool images on Pixabay, like these goats from Tarnheimertal. But I usually like one with just a little bit of human action in there, just to show off what people are really doing. So why don't we try this image right here of the boats? I think that's super inspiring. So once you find an image to use, you can just click on free download, choose the size, so 1920 is big enough for us, and download. You're Not a Robot, and download. You can also donate to the author if you'd like, or follow these instructions right here to give credit. Now we're just going to name it, so hero image, and save it. Now let's go back to our page, and we're going to click upload and select hero image and open. Cool. Now we're going to build out a few more content blocks and then just update it and see what we made. So to create another content block, hit the plus. Now let's try to hit common blocks and see what's common. So there's like quote, audio, cover, file. What happens if we hit formatting? Okay, that way we can do like classic, code. We could also click on widgets and put a widget in there. Let's just try to go with the paragraph though for now. So let's click plus, and we can see the most used. You can also click common and check out like what's really common among people building with 2020. But I'm just going to go with a paragraph so we can have some text. Okay, so now we can write out some demo text. Okay, so there's our text. Now what if we want to have two columns, like have some text with some other stuff next to it? Well, let's hit plus in the middle and then click on another thing like a list, and then get a bulleted list there. So we can say tech, music, fashion, culture, lifestyle. So that's what we cover. Next, we can hover on the 6 dots right here and get the Super Mario hand and drag it above or beneath one of our existing sections, or blocks as they're called. But what if we want to put them side by side? Let's click on this dot, which is our like content structure. That doesn't do anything. Well, in that case, we need to click plus again. And now we're going to go to layout elements, and we're going to make a column. So we can choose how many columns we want. Like for example, I think 3 is recommended in this theme. And now we can add individual blocks next to each other, or you can probably just click and drag one of these blocks into one of those columns like that. So that's super cool. Using this strategy, we can have our bullet points. We can also click plus and make like another image. Of course, you can go back to Pixabay if we didn't get the image you wanted before. And it's like really hard for me to guess which one that might be, but maybe it's this one here because everyone likes going on a good camping trip with the fam. Click free download and download. Download that bad boy and save it. I would have some camping trips with my family if we actually went camping. And now we're going to click upload. You can also just double click an image. You don't need to click open, and it'll upload to your WordPress. Super cool. And then you can click plus one more time if you want and add another cool most used feature like a quote. So that's super easy, just writing a quote from one of your favorite authors. If you don't have a quote, You can also search for outdoors quotes, for example, see what people are saying. So right away you get this cool image from Pinterest. Obviously Pinterest has like thousands of quotes, and that one's really nice. So I have a therapist, nature is her name. That's pretty cool. So I think nature really is the best therapist. And then when you have that in there, it'll automatically quote it, I believe. So we're going to put that by anonymous, and the font's a little different. All right, now let's add one more content block below just to see how it works, and that's going to be a video. So of course I love videos. I live on YouTube. They're not in the most used, but you can also search for a text block like video, and of course there's video. All right, so instead of uploading it, which is kind of a bad idea because then WordPress has to like store your video, I like inserting from a URL. So that way you can just go to YouTube and like look up one of your old blogs. Like for example, I have this video on, don't worry, I don't watch the Kardashians, ew, gross. I think this is Krista's channel. We can just search for like how to make a blog, wordpress.org, and hopefully you find me. If you don't, then something's broken. And then click on a link. That was the like skinnier, handsome version of me. We're going to copy the link and come back to our page and just paste in the URL. And it should understand that that's a YouTube video. All right, with that done, I think I got that right. Click on the arrow just to make sure it does. With that done, we are going to update, and now we're going to check out our page, which as we saw before is a full width page. You can also click on document to go back to these page settings. All right, awesome. Let's click view page and let's see what's up. All right, our page is looking okay now. I just don't like how the image up here isn't centered. So we can click edit page, and that's actually one of the settings they give us. So if you hover on your image and click on it, you can see there's like an edit image option to change the image, but there's also this cool change alignment option which gives you the full width image possibility. Super cool. You can also click on this button to change block type or style and make it a circle mask if you want to go that route. But we'll keep it default. Okay, so now with our image set to full width, let's update it and see how it looks. Awesome, there we go. So our homepage is looking pretty good, but as we can see, there's a lot of white space around the title of the page in between the image, and that's gonna cause people to leave the page because they don't see the information they want right away above the fold. So what if we put our page title on top of the image centered right here? How do we do that? Well, I can show you how, and it's actually a good transition because we can use the plugin called Elementor that you might have heard about before. To do so, we can just click edit page, and we can see when we installed Bluehost, we got Elementor. So here we are in plugins on the left, and there's Elementor. So now when we're in our pages, we can just go back. We're gonna have this button that says edit with Elementor, and we can click on that and then click edit with Elementor, and right away it'll transform all of our content made in 2020 theme into an Elementor window right here. And of course Elementor works great with the 2020 WordPress theme. It is an Elementor friendly WordPress theme. So right away we can see we have our title, and we can't do a ton with that, but we can actually change up the image below in this Elementor window. Or we can just click plus right here to create a new section and then recreate the title and the image. So let's do it. Once you click on that plus, you're gonna have this new dotted area, and we can just drag in any of these elements on the left, like a text editor. Just click and hold and drag it and drop it in. All right, so now we can just write whatever text you want, and you could say anything about the image, or maybe you'll make a section that's like an advertisement with the banner ad, but I'm just gonna recreate the title for the sake of this example. All right, now I'm gonna click on the kitchen sink right here, which is gonna open up more tools. And we can see later on if we want, we have all these other Microsoft Word sort of editor tools like color, center, so on and so forth. For now, why don't we just highlight and center that text? Great. And that's all we need to do with the text for now. Let's set up our background image. So we can go to the section settings right here by clicking on the 6 dots. And now we can click on style. And for background, we're gonna click on the paintbrush for classic, which is gonna bring up an image option. So now just click on the gray space and click media library. And we can choose our background image right there and insert media. Perfect. Let's play with the background image settings a little bit so that it covers the space we want the image to cover. So under position, we can leave that default. Attachment, we're going to leave default. Repeat, default, and then size is what we're going to change to cover. That should move the image a little bit. Next, we can go to advanced and just throw a little bit of padding around the image itself, which should push the text inwards. Great. So whatever you want to do there, 300, 200, you can play around with this pixel value and that'll show more or less of the image. Alright guys, great progress so far. Let's update it so we don't lose our changes. And at any time in Elementor, you can click on the hamburger icon in the upper left and then click on View Page. I like right clicking on View Page so we can keep the editor and the preview window open. Alright, so there's our text. Can't really see it, so we're going to have to change the font and the color a little bit, but we got good progress so far. So to make the image stretch full width, we're going to go back here to Elementor. You can click anywhere on top of what you're editing to get the tools back, and I usually like just clicking on the section settings, the 6 dots again. Alright, now let's click Layout, and we're going to stretch the section. Perfect, and make that content not boxed, but full width. Let's work on our text a little more, and we can just click on top of that gray text to get the text settings back on the left. See our Edit Text Editor. Alright, so we're going to now go to Style for the text, and for alignment, center it. You can see it's centered there, although it's pretty gray. And now we're going to go to Text Color, White. That helps. Click on the color to get out of this window. And then go back to Content, and here's where a little bit of magic takes place, and we're going to make this title look like this title. All you need to do is just highlight the text and click on the paragraph dropdown, and then choose heading, maybe heading 2. That's not quite big enough though, so how about heading 1, which WordPress knows is a page title, and voila. So now it looks identical. Great job. We can make this section even better though by adding a little overlay so that the background image, which is nice in HD, just sort of blends a little bit more into the background. So let's click on the section settings because that's where the background image is. It's on the whole section, not on the text section. Alright, click on that and then click on Advanced. And then click on Style and come down to Background Overlay. So we are just going to go with normal, classic background type. Click Color and then just add a little bit of black. There you go. So now we have a nice overlay. And of course you could do any color that suits you. Awesome. And if it's a little bit too dark, you can always grab the selector on the right and just pull that down to make it a little bit lighter. Perfect. While we're at it, we might as well change the title to something a little more descriptive, like maybe Welcome to our Nature Magazine, or just Nature Magazine for short, and update. Now we can just go to our homepage in the other tab and refresh it. And maybe Elementor wasn't quite done updating, but do it again, and now we have a perfect hero image, and we've successfully put the text on top of the image in WordPress. If you want to create a parallax image, that's also pretty easy because Elementor comes with that feature. Just go back to your Elementor editor, click on the 6 dots for the whole section settings. Make sure you're in the Style tab right here, and then come down to the image settings, and for attachment, we're going to choose fixed. So that way the image is fixed and the text will move on top of the image, so they move at different paces. So of course there are other types of parallax images you could create where the images move at different speeds or with shapes around them or something, but this is perfect right now. Alright, so the Elementor plugin was a perfect segue into learning about other plugins in WordPress. Let's go ahead and add a few more so our blog is even more supercharged and has more functionality. Let's go to the dashboard, and we're going to hover on plugins and just click on plugins. Alright, beautiful. So we have these 5 plugins right now. Your plugin list might be different if you got a different web host or if you just installed some other ones when you were getting set up, or maybe your friend told you about a plugin. But right now we have Akismet, which protects from spam. We have Bluehost, which integrates with our Bluehost control panel. Contact Form 7, which is one of the best contact form plugins, probably the easiest one. Elementor Page Builder, and WooCommerce for an online store. So let's add 2 more plugins to the site right now, and to add a plugin you can just scroll up and click Add New. And it'll recommend some of the best plugins, but we want to do a search for a plugin called Gutenberg Blocks, which will make your Gutenberg editor even more powerful. There it is. Now just click Install Now, and then click the blue activate button. And this is the Gutenberg add-on that has the most installations, so you know it's good. Alright, so you should see a few more settings now in your page or post editor when you're using the Gutenberg blocks. Let's go back to plugins, and you can just hover on it and click add new. And now we're going to search for a plugin called Insert Headers and Footers. This one's not quite as exciting, but it lets you put in code from Facebook or Google or something like that so that you can show Facebook or Google plugins on your site. So install now and activate. Alright, and of course if you want to deactivate or delete a plugin, you can do so. All these plugins are free plugins, and unless your site really depends on a plugin, like for how it looks, you can go ahead and deactivate and delete them with no harm, and you can always just get them back through the plugins add new area where we just were. So don't worry too much about deactivating plugins. For example, we could deactivate WooCommerce down here because we're not using an online store yet, and our site's not going to break or anything. And then to save space, you can just click delete and OK, and you'll zap it. Alright, let's go back to our homepage now, and let's make use of the Insert Headers and Footers plugin, and we're going to do a little Facebook page like box on the homepage. So let's do a search for the Facebook page plugin, as it's called. And this will help people like your Facebook page and become fans from your website, because everyone wants more of those thumbs ups on your page. Alright, just click on the first link. So this is something we pretty much always do in our videos, and it's just sort of like a staple trademark we do, and it's really fun. So we can just make a Facebook page if you don't have one. Like mine is Dear Blogger, facebook.com/dearblogger. And by the way, this is for pages, and I don't know if groups will work here. We have a really cool group too where you can ask anything about WordPress. And this is just for pages, so I'll link you all that below the video. But right now we're going to put your page on the website. So go ahead and drop in your Facebook page URL, the whole link right there, and then you can customize some things like timeline, width, height, but the default is pretty good right here. We don't really need to change the settings too much, although like maybe you want to hide the cover photo, you know, just so they can see the like button more clearly, would be one example of what you could do. Once you like how your Facebook plugin looks, just click on Get Code. Alright, and so there's two steps here which usually trips people up, but we'll do both of them together. So the first thing is going to be to click on the step 2 code. You can just click your mouse anywhere and it'll highlight, and then right click and copy that. Now head back to WordPress, and we're going to click on our site title to go to the dashboard. We can hover on settings, and then we can click Insert Headers and Footers. So a lot of times when you install a plugin, you'll get a new settings for it. And here we are. So all you need to do is just paste that code from Facebook in the top box for scripts in header. What this means is basically just additional codes that want to communicate with WordPress. It's good to put them in the scripts in header box. So it doesn't show up on your site, but it's there in the background. And save it. Next we can go back to the Facebook page area, click on the step 3 code and copy it. And we can head back to WordPress in Elementor. So now that we're in Elementor, it's really easy just to make a new little text area where we can put our Facebook like box. So somewhere at the bottom of the page, just click on that pink plus. We're going to make this just a full width area. Now click on the boxes here to get the elements back, and we're going to drag in a text editor again. And this part's actually really cool, guys. So in WordPress, every editor like this one, or a blog post for example, comes with a visual tab and a text tab. Now the visual tab is just the words like you'd see in Microsoft Word, and the text tab is all the different little pieces of HTML and CSS that WordPress will generate so that things look good. So if you're in the visual tab and you highlight something and you bold it, now in the text tab you're going to see a little strong tag like this, and that helps you learn how to actually put bold into the code, because that's what the strong tag does. It bolds it. If we go to visual and we like put italics on something, and go to text, then we'll see the M tag for italics. So really good way to learn some basic HTML and CSS. And a lot of the times when I'm creating a website, I'll only do my work in the text tab. In our case, let's just highlight all of this and delete it, and now right click and paste that code from Facebook. So that's how it works. Because we're in the text tab, we can paste any code we want like that and update it. Alright, so now we're going to go to our home page. We've done those 2 steps. and we're going to come down and we can see we have this beautiful, and it took a couple refreshes, but now we see that our Facebook page plugin shows up and looks good. So sometimes in WordPress, you just got to give it a minute. All right, really cool. You now have a Facebook like box. People can actually like your page right in line with your website, so they don't have to leave anywhere, and they can also like your content, like your posts. All right, awesome. And if you want to center your Facebook like box in the middle of the page, you can always go back to Elementor and click on the section where you put it, and we're going to click on the pencil. So we get inside the text editor here, and now I'm just going to click on the text tab, and around this whole piece of code, I'm going to show you a little HTML trick, which is to write center like that with the alligator brackets, and then at the end, write center again, but with a closed forward slash like that, and center. All right, and that should center just about anything, and update it, and refresh, and voila. All right, scrolling down our page, we can see there's some nonsense little widgets right here that WordPress came with, like recent posts, recent comments, and so on. To delete those widgets, as they're called, we can just hover on our site title and click on widgets. All right, so here we are in the widgets area, where you can also get to if you just hover on appearance and click widgets. So these are the footer one little widget pieces of nonsense. We're gonna open them up and delete them. All right, and you can get them all back. For free, they're just sitting on the left hand over here. So if you want to get the search bar back, just click to open it and choose where you want it, like footer one, and add widget, and you'll get it back. Then you can just drag it to the top. But for now, we're going to delete everything so we can keep it simple. Especially on a new WordPress website or blog, you got to remember that less is more. All right, so we're just opening each one of these tabs and deleting. Delete the categories. Lastly, delete the meta, which is the login, because you know how to log in. You don't need that meta thing. You just go to your domainname.com/WP admin. And now when we go to our homepage, it looks a lot neater. Perfect. To set up a couple more pages in WordPress, you can hover on the skinny nav at the top where it says new and click page. So we're going to give ourselves an about page. So just about and publish. And we can write a little something about us, like, this page is where I'll share my mission statement and goals for the blog and website, because we got both of them. We got a website with a blog, and now we're going to update that. Then we can quickly repeat the process by clicking add new on the left. And let's give ourselves a contact page. So contact us, or whatever you want to write. We can write some text in there too, like, this is where you can reach. To put a contact form on the contact us page, let's just make a little space beneath that hello, and we're going to publish the page so we don't lose our progress. Now we're going to jump over to plugins, and we're going to use contact form 7, which we installed earlier. For contact form 7, you can just click on settings. Now click on the shortcode that the plugin generated for us, which will show a basic contact form, and right click copy it. We're going to take that back to our pages tab. Open up our contact us page again by clicking on the title. Now just put your cursor down in this new block, and we're going to right click and paste that shortcode. Perfect. And let's update the page. All right, we can see what that looks like by clicking view page. And awesome. So not only do we have this cool text, we have a contact form that looks good and it matches the theme of our blog. So whenever someone pops in their name, email, subject, message, and hits send, that'll go to whatever email address you have inside WordPress settings, which would be in your dashboard, settings, general. All right, so this email. So now that you have a few more pages on your WordPress website, we can make a menu in the navigation area that actually organizes those page tabs, aka page links. To make a menu, you can hover on the site title and click menus. Menus look super confusing at first, like what are we even looking at here, but I'll walk you through all of it. So first we need a menu name. So we're just gonna go with main menu and then click the blue create menu button. And this is one area of WordPress that over the years has pretty much remained unchanged. Next, in our add menu items area, just click on view all on the pages and we can choose our blog, about, and contact us. And click add to menu. And those will populate in the little menu structure area right here. We can click and hold on these tabs to drag them in the most logical order. And now in menu settings, we just need to choose where this menu is going to go. So let's go with desktop horizontal, desktop expanded, and how about mobile, and save it. Now let's open our site in a new tab and see what we made. So now we get the links across our screen, which is like the normal menu style, and we get the expandable menu with the 3 dots. So it's pretty cool. This expandable menu is like a new feature of the 2020 theme. So let's keep this menu and get rid of this traditional link menu. Go back to menus and just get rid of the desktop horizontal menu and save it. Awesome. If you're used to having a home button in the menu, you can add a custom link. So that's right here. Just click custom links and then we're going to type in your home page. So to do that, we can just copy our site URL at the top and we're going to paste that over this little URL. Paste it and give it the link text of home and add to menu. And now drag it to the top, and that's how you make a link to the home. Save it and refresh and we're good to go. And we can see that if we drag the corner of our site in and make it mobile, we've also made a mobile menu. So now it makes perfect sense. Someone would just click with their right finger in the upper right and they'd get a menu to navigate the rest of the site. Awesome. So now that we have an about page and a contact page that look good, why don't we work on our blog page a little? Let's click on the link to blog. And we can see we have our first blog post here, but let's do a little more work. Let's click to the dashboard and click on posts. Now to delete a blog post at any time, you can just click on the trash button. And then this blog post will live in the trash area if you ever want to get it back. So here's the link to the trash. Let's click add new. And there are 3 types of blog posts that I think every new blog should launch with that really have promoted success on my past blogging ventures. So we already have a welcome to the blog post, and the next one you should have is an ultimate guide to really whatever you do. The ultimate guides are traditionally long form content, lots of images, lots of explanations, some definitions, some videos, basically something that ranks well in Google because Google loves long content. We don't have the time to create an entire ultimate guide, but I'll leave you links to some examples in the video description. For now, I'm just going to grab some Pan Ipsum, which is my favorite site for creating like default text, placeholder text. So just click on that and then you can choose what kind of text you want, like cat Ipsum. Cool, cats are always in. And then you just click generate new Ipsum and it gives you some like cat Ipsum and it'll generate some text for you. So then you can just highlight it and copy it and take it back to your site. All right, and paste it in, and that was relatively pointless, but at least we have some content right here. Don't forget that your blog posts need a featured image, so if you click on document, you can get back to the featured image, set featured image, go to our media library. We don't have any pictures of cats yet, so let's look up cats in Pixabay. All right, there we go. Choose the first one, free download, download, ultimate guide to cats, and save it, and just put that image in the featured image section. Click select files, double click on the image to upload it to your new WordPress. If you have visually impaired users, it helps to create alt text. This helps screen readers determine what a picture is about when someone can't really see the picture. And set featured image, and publish, and publish. Let's click add new post one more time, and the third type of blog post your site should have is a controversial piece, something that distinguishes you from other bloggers in your niche and shows that you do it differently. So we're going to call this one controversial piece. All right, we can put that cat Ipsum in again, reuse that. All right, we can go back to Pan Ipsum and get a different kind of Ipsum this time. Maybe we want to get Dungeons and Dragons Ipsum. All right. Copy that, throw that in WordPress, and here's our controversial piece. We're going to go to document, and now we can click on featured image, and we're just going to use the picture of the family camping right now. Set featured image. All right, perfect. So this should work for the sake of our example. Let's just publish it. All right, if you want to share your blog post with friends via email or social media, you can always copy this link right here and put that wherever you want to share it, and then share it. Let's go to our homepage now, and let's see how our blog looks. So we're going to click on the menu, blog, and beautiful. So we have our controversial piece, ultimate guide to whatever you do, and welcome to the blog. And the reason the welcome to the blog post doesn't have that big image is because we didn't put up a featured image. We just put an image inside the blog post. To take advantage of WordPress 2020 Theme's different blog post layouts, we can just edit one of the blog posts. Click Edit Post. And now, just like we did with the home page, we're going to add a different sort of column beneath this block right here. So here the text is in our first block. We can hit Enter beneath it to set up a different block. And you can do that as many times as you want, but we really only need a couple blocks. To delete a new block, you can just put your cursor in the block and click Delete, and it'll go up to the next block. So let's set up a few more columns. We can click on the Add Columns button, and let's try the second option. Now click on the plus to add some content. Let's go with an image, media library, and if we're in the upload window, we can't get an image from Pixabay, so cancel. Now let's go back to Pixabay and let's look up a standard image of a beach. And now we can just click and grab one of these images and then free download and download. Name it and save it. And let's grab one more beach image, do another search again. Alright, this one looks really cool. A little cove right here. Free download, download, and name it and save it. Alright, now back in our blog post, we can just upload that image. Click Upload. We're going to choose both. Just select and hit Command or Control and select. Double click the image. Beautiful. Then I'm going to grab some of this text right here. Copy that and put that in this block right here. I'm going to click plus, paragraph, and then paste it in. Next, let's move our cursor to the outer area right here where we see these small dotted lines and click on the columns. And here we can change things like vertical alignment or make the column full width. Alright, awesome. So that would stretch it across the page. Let's create one more block just so this page looks nice and clean. We're going to hit the columns and we're going to make this one the fifth layout, which I know will be popular among you guys, because this one allows the skinny column, then the fat column, and then the skinny column, and it's going to look especially good across the whole screen. So let's start by just putting some text in the middle. Click on the plus, paragraph again, you get the picture, and paste in our text. Alright, now let's click plus, and grab an image, upload. Double click on the beach cove, or whatever image you got from Pixabay. Cool, and now let's click on the column on the right, click plus, image, upload. And I'm too lazy to go back to Pixabay, so I'm just going to grab this Bluehost logo I have from making a different guide. Alright, cool, and now we can stretch this blog post layout across the whole screen like we did before. Let's just click on the outer settings for the columns, and then change alignment to, how about wide width? We can try that one, see if it looks any different. Alright, cool. So now let's update the page and let's see the different layouts we made. Or update the post, I should say. You can use preview if you want to check out your post before the changes are made. I know I used to when I was really nervous about publishing blog posts, so they look perfect, but now I just go with the view post and the publish because I'm not too nervous anymore. So we can scroll down and see we have our block of text, and then our second block of text, and our third block of text, and we've established 3 different blog post layouts. Cool. If we look at this post from the view of the blog page, we're going to see a preview of it. It's not really a preview like you preview a blog post, it's just a preview in the sense that it's like a short version of it. Or maybe it'll show us the whole blog post. So if you don't want to see the whole blog post, but you just want to see like a read more link, you can go to the blog post, edit post, and then at any point, like after the image of the beach and the woman, we can click plus to get ourselves a new block, close up the most used and come down to layout elements and just choose the more. Alright, so that'll give us the read more button. Let's just click and drag it up though so it's in the right section with this lady. And beautiful. Now let's update and let's see how that looks. So if we're on the home page and then we're on the blog page, now we can see we scroll down and we shouldn't see quite as much of this post. So there's just a continue reading button instead, and it looks like we got too many of those buttons. How did that happen? Let's go back to the blog post, edit post, and I guess this read more button is not in the right place, so why don't we try to put it instead beneath this block of text instead, and update, head back to the blog page, and that makes a lot more sense. So now we have a perfect looking continue reading button, and if you click it, it'll take you right to the part of the post where you should continue reading at. All right, awesome. So lastly, we can add a gallery to our blog post because I know some of you are going to want a gallery. We can click Edit Post, and I believe there is a block for gallery. Let's just click plus at the bottom, and we're going to go to search for a block and gallery, and there she blows. Click on gallery, and now let's click on media library, and then just like you would add an image, we can actually just select multiple images now. Alright, so we have 7 images here, and we're going to click Create New Gallery, Insert Gallery. Beautiful. So WordPress knows right away to organize them in this cool masonry style layout. We're just going to update it, and then we can see what it looks like. And just for fun, why don't we add a little border too? So add block, let's go for the separator. Choose that, and then we can just drag this guy up above. Not sure why the page isn't scrolling too well right now. It seems to want to like have whatever we're looking at be in the screen. But I can hit Command minus and shrink it, and there we go. All right, perfect. You can see how easy the drag and drop is once you get the hang of it. And update, and view post, and there, we made a gallery. Of course, using your own blog content, I'm pretty confident you can make something even more beautiful and more symmetrical and a lot cooler looking. But now you have the skills to do it. To make yourself a logo so we can replace this site title at the top, we can go to logomaker.com. That's logomakr.com. Just click in the gray space to get rid of the video, and now we're going to search for a graphic like a compass. And as it said, there are millions of graphics. Once you find the graphic you like, just click on it to put it in your canvas here, and then click and drag it. And you can click in the color wheel to change the color. Awesome. You can click on the T to bring in some text, and then just start typing. So our site is called Bluehost Setup. So I'm going to write bluehostsetup.com. And click and drag it, and it'll even line it up for you. You can of course change the font by clicking on top of your text and choosing from the font categories like designer picks, and then just choosing the actual font itself on the right. Awesome. And you can change different colors in the image, for example, by clicking on the paint bucket, then choosing a different color, like maybe a nice purple, and then you just need to click on top of the image where you want to change it. So it takes a little precision, but you can just click, and there you go. Awesome. Once your image looks good, just click on the crop button in the lower right. It's going to guess how much white space you should give it, and you can bring that in so there's less white space around it. Then click on Enter to actually crop it, and click on the floppy disk in the upper right to save it. Now we're going to say no thanks down the low resolution. Make sure to give credit to logomaker.com, and now we're going to save it as Bluehost Setup Logo version 1 and save it. Now we can go back to WordPress, and this is a perfect transition to get us into Customize. So in order to change the logo and actually replace it, we need to click on Customize in the upper nav for our first time. So we have a ton of blog content, that's all done pretty much, and Customize is where we change the style of our blog content. The first place we're going to want to go to is Site Identity, and right here we can change the site title itself, like, make a different site title and the Bluehost setup will go away. And you can also change your tagline. Now we have the option to select logo, so let's click that. Select files again. Go ahead and double click on the new logo we just made. Click select. We're going to skip cropping, and the logo should insert itself. Awesome. Now let's click publish and X out and see what we made. Awesome work. So we have our new logo and our site tagline in line with each other, looking good. So next, I'd like to walk us through every part of Customize. So let's click on Customize again, where we installed our logo. Because the theme developers, like the people at WordPress and Anders Naren, really intended us to design in Customize and build in the block editor, like when you click new post or new page. Even though we're using Elementor to make ourselves a little more powerful and cool, they intended us to use mainly those two things, Customize and the block editor. So I want us to explore Customize to the fullest. So clearly we already covered site identity, that's where you do the logo, but there's one more part to it, which is a retina logo, and beneath that there's a site icon. So if we click retina logo, it'll just scale the logo to half its uploaded size and make it look better on high resolution screens. That's not a terrible thing. A lot of sites, like if you visit apple.com, use a really tiny logo so they can maximize what you see on the homepage, like their products and their offers and their links to the important pages. So that's something to consider. And then we have a site icon, which you definitely need. So we can replace this little globe icon, or maybe it just looks like a piece of paper. You want to have an icon that goes on the browser tab. So what we can do is go back to Logo Maker. Hopefully you still have it open, and X out. And we're going to do another crop, but this time we're going to drag in and crop it so we only see our logo icon. So we're getting rid of the text. Try to center the white space, and now I'm going to hit enter and save it again. Go for the low resolution file and call this file just fave icon. Perfect. And save it. So now back in customize, we can click on select site icon, and we can just go to the select files and bring up our site icon. Double click on fave icon, and beautiful. For some reason I think it got in there twice, I'm not sure how, but either one is good. We're just going to select it, skip the cropping, and there it is. Perfect. And publish. So that does it for site identity. Now let's go back and let's see what's going on in colors. So in colors we can choose a background color, which I believe will apply to anywhere on the site where there is a background. So this is like the body of your site, and the body can have a different background color. The header up here where the page title is not going to get that background. But we're actually going to learn how to remove this area in a second. But then if you wanted to change the header and footer background color, let's bring this back to white because green's not going to work for us. And then actually you can change the header and footer background color right here. And that one should do it on the upper area and also on the footer. So pretty cool. Whatever you want to do, go for it. And I actually kind of like that blue, but white is our color for now. You can also choose the custom color below, and this will apply a color for any links, buttons, and featured images. So not bad. If you want to change the color of your links so people click them more, if you think there's a better color, go for that. But default's really good. So that would be colors. We can go back and we can click on theme options next. This will let us show the search button in the header. All right, so I generally like having that. It's a pretty standard feature that helps people get around your site, look for your blog post really quickly once you have a ton of them. And then on archives pages, posts can show the full text or the summary. So I'm pretty sure that means that it's going to be a summary on pages that are like a category page, or maybe even on your blog page, but full text is good. Plus you know how to show that read more link if you want to cut off the text. All right, let's go back and let's hit cover template and see what's going on there. So these are the settings for the cover template, page template. If you're on one of the pages like our about page and you choose cover, then there'll be a fixed background image, overlay background color, you can change that, and overlay text color, you can change that, and also the opacity of the overlay, which will go on top of the image. We can also check out the background image area. So this is if you wanted to have a background image on like every page, I think, including the home page, you can put an image in there. Pretty cool feature, and you don't have to use any CSS to create a background image in WordPress like we've had to do before. Next we have our menus. So this is the same as going to appearance menus. You just get to edit your menus in this little screen if it looks better to you. So we can change our tabs, like drag them to different orders. You can also create drop downs by indenting them. And other useful features are creating the footer menu and the social menu. So why don't we try doing that right now? Let's go back and let's click create new menu. And we're going to call this one the social menu, which will obviously go in the social menu location. And then let's click next and add some links. So add items wants to be clicked. It's bouncing around. Let's do it. All right, so because this is a social menu, it's pretty clear we need social links for it. So I'm going to do custom links. And I'm going to start by going for our Facebook group. So we can grab that from the internet. I'm just going to look up Dear Blogger Group Facebook. So we can grab those links from the internet. They are live now. All right. Copy that and paste that in the first link. Just paste it over that existing https:// Facebook, add to menu. And we can do that again for Twitter. All right, so Twitter, a little bit easier to get, just / my name. And you really should follow these pages. I answer a lot of questions every day, just super honestly for free. It's a great way to get really quick WordPress support when you're stuck, help you get unstuck. Paste it in and Twitter and add to menu. Nailed it. All right, so let's publish it with those two and let's see what it looks like. Now we can scroll down or wherever the social menu is, I'm not even sure. And there we have it. So just like that, we have some cool social media icons set up on our new WordPress site. Of course, you can go crazy too with, Instagram, LinkedIn, Snapchat, Rumble, Grobble, Reddit, whatever you use. I don't even know all the names anymore. Okay, cool. So we've covered the menus. Now let's go to widgets. And just like menus, widgets is the same as going to appearance widgets. This is just a way to put more stuff in our footer. And we don't have a ton of content now. Maybe when you have comments and you have like more about us information or a map, for example, you want to put that in the footer. But for now, okay, fine. We'll learn how to put a map in the footer. All right. So if you want to put a Google map, like a lot of businesses do, so it's like people can just see where they are right away. Just open up footer 1, click add a widget, scroll down and go ahead and jump into the, should be a custom HTML option right there. All right. We're going to call this one our location. Now we are going to go to google.com/maps and we're going to search for Chelsea Market in New York, which is pretty much the only office I have at the moment. Whenever I'm in New York, I go to the YouTube headquarters there and get a little work done. If you're around, then hit me up. We can grab a coffee, and of course it's free and delicious. They have wraps. And anyways, we want to grab the map location. So what we're going to do is go to share. You might not have known you could do this if you use Google Maps to like find your restaurant, but you can actually click embed map and you get this really cool iframe source. So just click copy HTML. Super easy, and it syncs with WordPress perfectly. So we're going to come back to our location here and paste that in the HTML and publish it. And that should be it. When we scroll down, we have a nice looking map. How about that? Super big, and the coolest thing is people can click and search and zoom right there from your website, so they don't even need to leave. Okay, we can go back now. We're almost done with customize. We're going to click homepage settings, and this is where we have the homepage, which is the page we made called home, but we renamed it to welcome to our magazine, and the post page is blog. So that's just standard web developer protocol, and now you know it. And we can go back. And lastly, we're going to hit additional CSS, and this is the end. It's just a blank window, and most people think that this window does nothing, but let me show you how to make something out of nothing right here. And this is actually one of my favorite parts of the tutorial. So we're going to learn how to get rid of parts of your website using the display none command, and literally just by writing in our own CSS and HTML into this little window, we can remove stuff from the website. You don't even need to delete it, and it's really helpful when there's a pesky website feature you just can't get rid of. So let's work a little magic here. The first item we want to get rid of is, of course, this title. I think that makes sense to get rid of it because we already have that on our beautiful hero image in the middle of the image. So what you need to do is, first of all, I hope you're using Google Chrome, but if you're not, if you're using Safari or Firefox, it should work fine. It'll just look slightly different in terms of the buttons you click, but like I said, I think it should work fine. So what we want to do here is just highlight the part we want to get rid of, right click and hit inspect. And once you do that, you're going to get this little console and elements down here. And what you need to do is find the right area and hover on it, and you'll know your mouse is hovering on it because it becomes selected. All right. Sometimes there's duplicate areas, like you can have the inner area and the outer area, and it will take a little bit of trial and error, but in our case I want to grab as much of this section as I can. So instead of just grabbing like the welcome to our magazine part, I really want to grab welcome to our magazine along with the green space around it to get rid of all of that. So here I am hovering on the green space. I'm going to click on this line of HTML, so it's highlighted in blue. And then I'm going to go to the right, and I'm going to click on my mouse somewhere on this grayed out little command area. Clicking there will highlight it, and you need to right click and copy all of that. Sometimes it's just a couple pieces of words or like one sentence, but in this case it's a lot of stuff. So with this section copied, we're going to close this little X box right here, and we're going to come back to our custom CSS window and right click and paste. All right, and then we're going to make a space after the end of it and do an open bracket just like such. I'll zoom in so you can see it. Just hit enter so you have a little room to write, and then write display colon none semicolon, and you get rid of it. So in this case, it looks like we were a little bit aggressive and we got rid of the whole site header. So if we publish and we check out our site, we've gotten rid of like everything at the top. Now you might want that, but I want us to keep our logo and our menu because we worked hard on them. So let's go back to the customize window and try again. And like I said, it takes a little bit of trial and error. So what we're going to do is just delete what we wrote, whole thing, and highlight welcome to our magazine again, right click and inspect. All right, now let's try something a little bit smaller. So instead of the entire area with the green space, let's just try this area with the orange space. And you know what, better yet, let's just try this title itself. So just the part that highlights welcome to our magazine or whatever your page title is. And this time I'm just gonna target the actual header itself. So just where it says welcome to our magazine. All right, so make sure we're selected onto that line of HTML. Now let's go over to the right and let's grab these couple sentences with the click. So H1 enter title and H2 enter title, and right click and copy that. All right, now we're gonna paste that in our little additional custom CSS window here. Paste, and again, make a space. Now make a space after it, bracket, hit enter, and now again, write display none. And perfect, so that did the job. Now we got rid of the title. The only concern is that might get rid of the title on every page, and we just want it removed on the home page. So to make sure that's the case, let's go back to the home page itself and click edit page. And you need to locate your page or post ID, which at the top is where it says post equals this number right here. So I'm going to remember that number. So I'm going to remember that number 12 and come back to customize. Now we're going to put our cursor at the front of the H1 and write period or dot page dash ID dash 12 space. And that will make sure to target just the home page and remove just the H1 entry title, H2 entry title on the home page. So how about that? You just learned how to use some CSS and apply it to the HTML that's already existing on your WordPress site. I know you chose WordPress.org a little bit because you'd be able to edit the code and customize everything. So of course we're going to learn how to edit the code and customize everything. There you go. But why stop there? Because we actually want to remove this white space at the top and some of the white space in the middle of the home page as well. And I want you to know how to do all of that. So now that we've written this one beautiful line of custom additional CSS, which stands for cascading style sheets, let's right click on the white space we want to remove and get back to it. We're going to hit inspect, and we can see that it's right away highlighted in green. So what does that mean? Well, we're right here on this line of HTML, and we're going to need to go over to the right and scroll down a little bit because some white space is obviously padding. Or that white space is margin, but when the white space is green, it's padding, and when it's orange, it's margin. So I found some padding here, and I want to know if this is the right area. All right, so here we are. We know we're highlighting the right area, but I want to know if this part on the right is correct. So I'm going to check it, and we can see it is correct. This is what's going on. There's some padding of 8 REM there that we want to get rid of. Okay, cool. So what I'm going to do is, like before, I'm going to click in this area and highlight everything up here. Just kidding, everything right here is what we want to highlight, not the app media part. And then like before, we're going to right click, copy it, and close it out. All right, and then we're going to paste that in here. I usually like leaving one space in between the last piece of CSS and the next one. Then do open bracket, enter, and write padding, :0, semicolon. And you did it. Perfect. So the first CSS we did was display none, which as you can tell means, display nothing there. We don't want none of that. And the second piece of CSS we did is just padding, which is white space in code speak, and we want that to be 0 padding. All right, keep in mind guys, if you get any part of this wrong, if you miss some punctuation like the colon, it just won't work and you'll wonder why, because you wrote it out right, but you missed some punctuation. So that's gotta be perfect. And publish. Okay, so we can scroll down and we can see that there's a little bit of more pesky white space right above this Facebook like box right here. So I'd like to show you another way to get rid of that white space, and that's just to do it in Elementor. So our homepage uses the Elementor page builder because Elementor made it really easy to set up this text on top of an image with the parallax. And when you use Elementor on a page, you want to keep Elementor on a page. You don't want to go back to using the WordPress block editor. So let's make sure you published and X out of here now that we've covered all of this customized area. Great job, by the way. And we're going to go back to Elementor on our homepage. So here we are on homepage, looking beautiful. Let's go back to edit with Elementor. Scroll down. All right. And then we're going to scroll down to this section beneath the hero image. Click on top of it and make sure you can follow that light blue line to see exactly where we are. So that goes all the way down beneath our video to the Facebook like box. And we're going to click on the section settings, the 6 dots. Now make sure you're in advanced and unlink the padding and just make it 0. All right, so that'll make sure that the spacing is less. If you want to do the same for margin, go ahead, just pop a 0 in there, but sometimes it just doesn't do much. Now I'm going to click on our Facebook like box section, so the 6 dots for that section. Go back to advanced and unlink the padding, and you can see right away it became 0 and the spacing got reduced. Awesome. Alright, so that's how it's done in Elementor. Just to remove white space, you got to do advanced and then remove the margin or the padding. We can also get rid of this image here because it's kind of a duplicate. We already have the image at the top. So I'm just going to right click on the pencil icon, and that's going to be a delete. So that's how you delete individual things, or you can hit Command Z if you deleted too much. In my case, I actually just need to open up this section right here and get rid of the image by editing it. Go into content and just clicking on the image and deleting. Beautiful. Alright guys, you're really mastering WordPress 2020 and Elementor. We're almost at the end of our tutorial. Great job so far. Let's update, and one of the last features I want to show you how to do is just a button. So a button's really good under the hero image to get people to different parts of your site, like a landing page, an offer, wherever you want them to be, just to like submit content to you or do whatever. So now we're going to hit the plus, so there's another space in between the hero image and our page content. And then we could just drag a button in right now by clicking and dragging, but I actually want 2 buttons because that looks cooler. So we're going to grab the intersection, pop that in there. That'll give us 2 columns. And if you want more columns, a little trick is you can right click on the column button right here and duplicate it, and now you have 3 columns for content. I'm going to hit Command Z though because we only want 2. And now we can go to our elements by clicking on these 9 dots and grab button 1, pop it in there, and button 2, and pop it in there. Awesome. To make your button centered in the middle, just click on the left button right here and make sure its alignment is to the right. We can get rid of the space around the buttons by, of course, going to advanced and getting rid of the padding all around them and the margin. If that doesn't do much, it's probably because we're on the wrong section, so we just changed the button margin and padding. But instead of doing that, we actually want to change the padding on this intersection. So click on the intersection settings, advanced, and now it's time to remove that padding. Cool. And that margin, just for good measures. All right, now let's make those buttons totally you. So we're going to click on the first button, edit it with the pencil icon, go to content, and we're going to change what it says. So learn more is always good. You can do all caps if you like. And this link is going to go to our about page. So what we can do to get our about page is open the site in a new tab, click on our menu, and then just right click on the about and copy the link address. That's a common WordPress move. Now come back and paste that over the hash brown right here. Beautiful. You can also make the button bigger, and you can change the color. You can change the type of the button, so these are just different types of buttons, different colors that apparently work for someone. But I like going with the custom color, and you can click style to do that. Then just click on background color, click anywhere in this little window to change the color, and of course there are millions of colors to choose from. Alright, I'm going to go with a nice dark gray there, and then we can change the other button as well. Click on top of the other button, we're going to do the same thing. We're going to make the link go to our contact page though, so right click, copy the link address, and come back and paste that over the hash brown. Alright, and that'll help people get to our contact page to sign up or book a trip with you, whatever it is you're doing on your site or your blog. Make it large. Alright, we got to change that text, of course, so it doesn't say click here. So this is going to be book a trip, just as an example. And yeah, that green color is actually pretty pleasing. We can go to style, and one of the coolest parts of buttons is you can actually change how they interact with someone. And why don't we change the hover just for fun? So click on hover, and now change the background color to something different, like totally clear when someone hovers on it. Or for example, you go with a different green, like here's green. You can make it just become like a little bit darker green, super subtle. And so now when I hover on this button, it'll just become a little bit interactive. So, ooh, dark green, maybe I want to click that now. Click on the color to get rid of this little window. You can also give the button a border, and you can make it have box shadow if you want to. And you can curve the button more by choosing a border radius. In our case, I'm not going to go with the border or the radius or the shadow, but I do like hover animation. You can click on that and make the button do even more, like pulse for someone. So that's pretty cool if you want people to direct their attention to a certain button. Alright, and update. I'm just going to add in a little more text just because I want there to be a little more text. And let's click on the hamburger and view page. And awesome. Great work, guys. Last but not least, we want to change the footer copyright down here. So how do we change where it says, site title powered by WordPress and customize that for you? All right, folks, so the final pieces of the puzzle are to change the copyright at the bottom. Let's do that right now. And then we're going to change it so it doesn't say site title in our browser tab. So to change up your copyright area at the bottom, we're going to go back to the dashboard. And we got to actually dig in. A lot of the times in the default WordPress theme, they hide the copyright section in Appearance Editor. So it's kind of a cool way to end the tutorial. I'm going to show you basically the keys to the castle and all the code. So click I understand, and then it's up to us basically just to find this section. And with a little bit of searching around and some guesswork from previous themes edited, I'm going to take a wild guess that it's in theme footer. So click on that and scroll down, and it might not look like what we want to see at first. Like it might not look like site title powered by WordPress, but if you look really close at the right area, you'll actually see the words powered by WordPress, so you know you're in the right place. Okay, so what we're going to do, and I don't recommend this if you don't have a teacher here like me, but you do, so you're fine, is go ahead and highlight everything in between the P class equals footer copyright that I've highlighted, and in between this P right here. So that would be the and copy, which is the symbol for copyright. This is like what translates into the copyright symbol. We're going to actually leave that, and we're going to highlight everything except that up to this bottom A. And I'm just going to hit Command X to cut it. And now we're going to write in our own custom footer. So copyright 2019. And then if we want to make a link, we can do a link to the YouTube channel. So you can do an open alligator bracket. This is just how to make a link for future reference for you. You do a space href equals quotation mark, close bracket, and then it'll close off the A. So we actually just want to write Greg and Ryan in between these two alligator brackets like such, so that becomes our anchor text for the link. Then I'm going to go to YouTube, my channel here at user/Naraga. It's just a nickname that my good buddy Chan's made for me. Copy that, and come back to, drawing a blank, the Appearance Editor, and paste that in between the quotation marks. You can also make sure that quote doesn't get removed at the end. And you can also do a target equals underscore blank in quotes to make it open in a new tab. All right, so that does it. Let's update. And now let's refresh, and awesome. We just made our own custom copyright footer with a link to wherever you want to take people. That can link to your theme, like an affiliate link, whatever you want. Cool. And now we just need to change where it says site title right there, because that looks really weird. So I think that'll change on its own, because we can see the site icon in some windows and others it's not there. You just need to really clear the cache, and if you're in Chrome, you can get this exact clear all cache button I have that saves you a couple steps. It's a clear cache shortcut, and it's a Chrome extension called Clear Cache Shortcut. You can just search for extensions in Chrome. Alright, so that should do it, and then our actual site title and our icon, our fav icon, should show up soon. Alright guys and gals, so that does it for our tutorial. Thank you so much for watching. I really enjoyed making this for you, and I hope that you make a better blog and make WordPress and the whole web a better place with your new blog/website. The final step to launch your website is just to click on the green, or no, that's orange actually, coming soon active button. Alright, and then where it says launch your site here in this little Bluehost dashboard that you get, we are just going to click on launch your site. And that's going to get rid of the coming soon page, because right now you can see your site as it is, like as we're building it. But when other people look at your site, if I open up like an incognito window by hitting Command-Shift-N, other people just see this, which is no fun at all. So we are going to get rid of this little landing page default screen from Bluehost by clicking launch your site. So if you're ready to do that, I'm ready. Let's launch, and let's move on with the world and with reality, and let's just make your site become a real thing. Alright, now we can click view site, and you are officially live. So again, thanks so much for watching, guys. If you learned anything here, please make sure to smash the like button. That would mean so much to me. That's like the most free way of saying thanks to me and letting me know that you care. Please make sure to subscribe, and hit the notification button, that little bell, so you get WordPress tutorials right when I publish them. It would be an honor to have you in our subscriber community here on the YouTube channel. Can't wait to talk to you more. And yeah, that's it. I'm Greg Narayan. Thanks so much for watching. I'll talk to you soon.